My girlfriend won $500 but hid it. She said, "I can't pay rent this month. Can you cover me?" I replied, "Sure thing." Then I packed my bags, left a note saying, "I know about the lottery," and filed a lawsuit for the money I spent supporting her while she was broke. The panic when she realized common law rules applied to her winnings. I, 48M, am a man of logistics. I work as a fleet manager for a mid-sized trucking company. My job is simple in theory, but complex in practice. I track assets, I manage liabilities, and I ensure that every vehicle is where it's supposed to be, when it's supposed to be, there. I don't like surprises. I like maintenance logs, paper trails, and predictability. I've been living with Brenda, 39F, for 6 years. We aren't legally married, no ceremony, no white dress. We talked about it early on, but we both came from messy divorces and decided that a piece of paper wasn't necessary if the commitment was real. Or so I thought. In our state, however, the law has a different view. If you cohabit for a certain period, present yourselves publicly as a couple. We wear rings, she uses my last name on her gym membership, we are listed on my health insurance, and intermingle finances, you are effectively common law married. Brenda, apparently, never bothered to read the fine print of our relationship. Brenda claims to be a freelance interior decorator. Her income is sporadic. Some months she brings in a few thousand, other months, zero. For the last 6 years, I have been the financial bedrock. I pay the mortgage, the house is in my name, bought a decade ago, the utilities, the insurance, and the groceries. Our arrangement was simple. She contributes $800 a month towards household expenses. It was a token amount, barely covering her share of the food and electricity, but I didn't mind. I make good money. I wanted to take care of her. I viewed it as an investment in our future. About 5 months ago, in October, Brenda's financial situation supposedly crashed. She told me her main client stiffed her on a big project. She told me the market was drying up. She cried real tears in our kitchen, shaking and telling me she didn't know how she was going to pay her $800 share. I'm a man who believes in supporting his partner. I told her, "Don't worry, babe. I've got us. You just focus on finding new clients." So for the last 5 months, I paid everything. And I mean everything. I covered her $800 share. I paid her car insurance premium, $600. I paid $1,200 when her transmission blew out in November. I paid $400 for her emergency dental work when she chipped a tooth. I gave her cash for gas every week because her card kept getting declined. To cover this, I picked up extra shifts on Saturdays. I managed the weekend dispatch, which is a headache I usually avoid. I came home tired, sore, and stressed. Meanwhile, Brenda would be sitting on the couch watching reality TV, telling me how grateful she was to have a provider and a strong man. Last Tuesday, I came home early. A driver had a breakdown near my neighborhood, so I drove out to swap vehicles with him and ended up finishing my day at 2 p.m. Brenda wasn't home. Her car was gone. I went into our home office to grab a file I needed for my taxes. We share the desk, but we have separate drawers. I was looking for the property tax receipt I swore I filed. I opened the middle drawer, the junk drawer where we toss mail and batteries, rummaging for a pen. That's when I saw it. It was a thick white envelope from a bank I didn't recognize. It wasn't one of our usual banks. It had been ripped open, likely in a hurry, and shoved under a stack of takeout menus and old coupons. I pulled it out. It was a quarterly statement for a high-yield savings account. The account holder was Brenda. I opened it. Balance, $502,450. Deposit date, October 14th. Source, State Lottery Commission, Love and Payout, October. That was 5 months ago. That was the exact same week she told me her client stopped paying her. That was the week she started crying about being broke. I stared at that number. $500,000. She had $500,000 sitting in an account, earning 4.5% interest, while I was pulling overtime shifts to pay for her transmission. While I was skipping my annual fishing trip with my brothers to save money. While I was eating peanut butter sandwiches for lunch to keep our grocery bill down. I dug deeper into the envelope. There was a letter from the Lottery Commission. A standard "Congratulations on your second chance drawing win" letter. She hadn't just won a scratch-off, she had won a second chance drawing from a ticket she likely bought with the gas money I gave her. I sat in that chair for a long time. The silence in the house was heavy. I didn't feel happy for her. I didn't feel excitement. I felt a cold, calculated rage settling in my gut. It wasn't about the money itself. If she had won and told me, "Hey, I won big, let's pay off the house and invest the rest," I would have been thrilled. I wouldn't have asked for a dime for myself. I would have been happy for us. But she didn't do that. She looked me in the eye, day after day, and lied. She watched me work myself to the bone to cover her bills, knowing full well she could buy the whole damn house if she wanted to. She performed poverty. She acted out a struggle that didn't exist, just to see if I would pay for her life. Or maybe she was hoarding it, planning to leave me once she had enough interest accrued. I put the letter back exactly where I found it. I closed the drawer. I went back to work. I didn't say a word when she came home that night. I waited. In my line of work, you don't react until you have all the data. I needed to see how far she would take it. 2 days later, the first of the month approached. Brenda walked into the living room while I was watching the news. She had that sad puppy look on her face, shoulders slumped, hands wringing. "Honey," she said, voice trembling, "I'm so embarrassed to ask, but the new client pushed the start date back again. I don't have the $800 for this month. Can you cover me one more time? I promise I'll make it up to you once the check clears." I looked at her. I looked at the woman I had shared a bed with for 6 years. I saw the deception behind her eyes. I saw the calculation. I smiled. A calm, tight smile. "Sure thing, Brenda," I said. "You know I've got you. Don't worry about the money. We're partners, right? What's mine is yours." She let out a sigh of relief. "You're the best. I love you so much. I don't know what I'd do without you." "I love you too," I lied. That night she went out with her friends for ladies' night. She said her friend was paying because she was broke. I knew better. She was probably buying rounds for the whole bar with her secret debit card. The moment she left, I moved. I called my brother Dave, who owns a moving truck. "Dave, bring the boys. It's a code red." He didn't ask questions. He was there in 30 minutes. We didn't take everything. I own the house, so the furniture is mostly mine, but I didn't want to tip my hand that I was stripping the place. I packed my clothes, my electronics, my expensive tools from the garage, my personal documents, passport, deed, titles, and the new OLED TV I bought last year. I left the furniture she liked. I left the bed. I wasn't stripping the house bare. I was removing my valuables from the equation. I didn't move out permanently. It's my house. I moved my essentials to Dave's guest house because I knew things were about to get legal, and I didn't want to be under the same roof when the bomb went off. I needed her contained, comfortable, and unsuspecting while I dropped the hammer. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Next to the note, I left a photocopy of the bank statement I had found in her drawer. The note read, "Brenda, I know about the lottery. I know you've had $502,450 sitting in the bank since October. I know you lied to my face while I worked overtime to fix your car and pay your bills. You asked me to cover you because you were broke. You aren't broke. You're a liar, and you're a thief of my time and generosity. I'm staying elsewhere for a while. Do not contact me personally. You will be hearing from my lawyer regarding the division of assets. In this state, after 6 years of cohabitation and holding out as a couple, we are common law. That ticket was purchased during our union with funds from our joint household expenses. It's not your money, and I want my half, plus reimbursement for every dime I spent on you since October. Good luck paying the rent." I blocked her number. I blocked her social media. I drove to Dave's house, cracked open a beer, and called my lawyer. Update 1. The panic sets in. The next 3 days were quiet on my end because I had her blocked, but loud on every other front. Dave's wife, Sarah, told me Brenda had been calling her nonstop, crying, screaming, claiming I had abandoned her. She told Sarah that I was crazy, that the money was for us, and she was just planning a surprise. A surprise? A 5-month-long surprise where she begs me for grocery money? Where she lets me work Saturdays instead of resting? That's not a surprise. That's a con. My lawyer, Mr. Henderson, is a shark. He specializes in family law and high-asset divorces. When I told him the situation, he actually laughed. "She thinks because you didn't sign a marriage license, she's in the clear," he asked, tapping his pen on the desk. "She's in for a rude awakening. In our jurisdiction, the criteria are, cohabitation, capacity to marry, and intent. You filed joint taxes 2 years ago to save on the deduction, right? And she's on your health insurance as a domestic partner? That's the nail in the coffin. That lottery win is considered a marital asset acquired during the union. She's spending it, though, I said. I saw withdrawals on the statement. Then we move fast, Henderson said. I'm filing an emergency motion for a temporary restraining order on the asset due to imminent dissipation. We'll freeze that account before she can buy another purse. He filed the motion that afternoon. The judge granted it the next morning based on the evidence of her lying about finances while spending the money. This is where the reality hit Brenda. She went to the bank, probably to move the money to an offshore account or cash it out, and found out her account was frozen pending litigation. She showed up at my workplace an hour later. I work in a secure logistics yard. It's surrounded by barbed wire and monitored by cameras. She couldn't get past the gate. The security guard, a guy named Miller who knows me well, radioed me. "Boss, there's a lady here, white Mercedes. She's hysterical. Says she needs to speak to you about a banking error." I walked out to the gate. I didn't open it. I stood on the other side of the heavy chain-link fence. Brenda looked like a wreck. She wasn't wearing her usual designer freelancer outfit. She looked pale, her hair was messy, and her eyes were wild. "Mike," she screamed when she saw me. "Mike, you have to stop this. You froze my money. I can't access anything." "It's not your money," I said calmly, crossing my arms. "It's a marital asset pending division." "We aren't married," she shrieked, grabbing the fence. "It's my ticket. I bought it." "With money from the allowance I gave you," I countered. "While living in my house. While holding yourself out as my wife to the insurance company. You really should have read the statutes, Brenda, or at least Googled common law before you tried to play me." "I was going to tell you," she sobbed, sliding down the fence slightly. "I was waiting for the right time. I wanted to surprise you with a vacation. A boat. I was going to buy you a boat. My birthday was in December, Brenda. It's March. You missed the window for surprises, and you let me pay for your transmission while you had $500,000? That's not love, that's exploitation." "I was scared," she pivoted, trying the sympathy angle. "I thought you would change if you knew I had money. I wanted to make sure you loved me for me." "I proved I loved you," I said. "I paid your bills, I fixed your car, I fed you, I worked overtime so you wouldn't stress, and you watched me struggle while you sat on a gold mine." "You failed the test, Brenda." "I can't pay the utilities," she cried. The electric bill came and it's $300. They're gonna shut it off." "You have $500,000, I said. "Oh wait, you can't access it right now. Well, maybe you should get a job, a real one, or sell some of those designer bags I saw in the closet." I turned around and walked back to the office. She screamed obscenities at my back. She called me a gold digger. The irony was palpable. Update 2. The legal smackdown and the condo oaths. A week later, I got a call from Mr. Henderson. Brenda had hired a lawyer, a strip mall guy who clearly didn't know what he was up against. They tried to argue that we weren't common law because we kept separate finances for the most part. Mr. Henderson dismantled that in one letter. He provided 6 years of bank statements showing me paying for her life. He showed the joint Christmas cards she sent out signed the Millers. He showed the health insurance policy. He showed the affidavit from neighbors stating we introduced each other as husband and wife. Then came the fraud argument. This was Henderson's masterpiece. He argued that by claiming poverty and soliciting funds from me, the rent coverage, the car repairs, while secretly holding substantial assets, Brenda had committed civil fraud and unjust enrichment. Even if the judge decided we weren't common law, unlikely, I could sue her for every dime I spent on her, under the pretext of her being broke. We weren't just asking for half the lottery winnings. We were asking for 50% of the lottery winnings, $250,000. Full reimbursement of all household expenses I paid exclusively since the date of her win, $14,500. Legal fees. Her lawyer tried to settle. They offered me $50,000 to go away. I told Mr. Henderson to counter. "We want $300,000, or we go to court. And if we go to court, I will file for an immediate eviction order and remove her from the residence while the case drags on." Brenda was currently staying in my house, unable to access her fortune, living off ramen noodles because she really was broke without access to that account. I had security cameras on the exterior, which she couldn't disable without a ladder and tools she didn't know how to use, so I knew she wasn't destroying the place. She was just sitting there, stewing. Then, I found out something interesting from a mutual friend, Gary. Gary told me that Brenda had been bragging in December about moving up in the world. Before her account was frozen, Brenda had spent about $40,000. She sent $20,000 to her brother, who hates me and calls me the blue-collar stiff. She bought a closet full of designer bags. And the kicker, she put a $15,000 deposit down on a luxury condo in the city. She was planning to leave me. The closing date was set for April 15th. She was milking me for rent and bills until she could close on her new bachelor pad and ghost me. The reason she hadn't moved out yet was that she needed the remaining funds liquid to show proof of funds for the mortgage she was taking out for the remaining balance. The condo was $800. She was putting $400 down. That revelation killed any lingering guilt I had. She wasn't scared. She was calculating. She was using me as a free hotel until her palace was ready. Update 3. The flying monkeys arrive. Brenda's mother, Linda, called me. This woman has never liked me. She thinks I'm uncultured because I work in logistics and my hands have calluses. You should be ashamed of yourself, she hissed into the phone. Stealing a woman's good fortune. You're a thief. That money was a gift from God to her. Your daughter stole 5 months of my life, I replied. She planned to leave me. Linda, she bought a condo. Did she tell you that? Or did she tell you she was planning a surprise vacation for me? Silence on the line. She bought a condo? Linda asked, her voice wavering. Yep, closing in April. Just for her. She was using me to save money until she could bounce. So don't talk to me about stealing. I'm just settling the tab for the hotel services I provided. I hung up. Then came the texts from her friends. You're pathetic. Let her have her money, you loser. Real men don't sue women. I didn't respond. I just forwarded screenshots to Mr. Henderson. Harassment, he noted. We'll use this to show her character if we go to trial. Update 4. The attempted seduction and the settlement. 2 days before our scheduled mediation, Brenda showed up at my brother Dave's house. I don't know how she knew I was there. Maybe she tracked my phone, or maybe she just guessed. It was 9 p.m. She knocked on the door. I answered. She was dressed up, like, really dressed up, the dress she wore on our anniversary. Heels. Makeup done perfectly. Can I come in? She asked, her voice soft. I brought your favorite scotch. I leaned against the doorframe. No, Brenda, you can't come in. Mike, please, she said, stepping closer. This has all gotten out of hand. Lawyers? Courts? This isn't us. We love each other. She reached out to touch my chest. Why don't we just talk like we used to? I can make this right. We can share the money. We can go on that vacation. Just drop the lawsuit, baby. Come home. She was trying to honey trap me. She thought she could seduce me into signing something, or at least get me to drop my guard. I looked at her. I didn't feel attraction. I felt pity. You bought a condo, Brenda, I said. She froze. I know about the condo. I know you were leaving in April, so don't stand there and pretend you want to make this right. You want your money unfrozen so you can close on your escape pod. Her face hardened. The mask slipped. You son of a... she spat. You ruined everything. I was going to be happy. You could have been happy with me, I said. But you got greedy. Get off my brother's porch before I call the cops. She stormed off. She threw the bottle of scotch on the driveway. It shattered. A waste of good scotch. We went to mediation yesterday. Brenda refused to look at me. She looked thinner. Apparently, the stress of potentially losing everything was taking a toll. Her lawyer looked tired. He knew they had no case. The common law statutes in our state are clear as day. Financial intermingling plus cohabitation plus holding out as a couple equals marital property rights. Mr. Henderson laid it out. We can go to trial. It will take a year. During that year, the assets remain frozen. Mike will proceed with a formal eviction from the residence starting tomorrow. Brenda will be homeless and penniless until the judge rules. And given the evidence of her deception and the secret condo purchase, the judge is likely to award Mike 50% plus legal fees. Brenda started crying. I just wanted something for myself, she sobbed. Everything is always yours. The house is yours. The car is yours. Because I paid for them, I snapped. I tried to build a life with you. You chose to build a life away from me while still eating my food. We settled after 4 hours. Here's the deal. I get $215,000 of the winnings. I added 15 colors for the stress. She reimburses me the $14,500 for the expenses I covered during her broke phase. She vacates my house within 7 days. She keeps the rest of the money, about $230,000 after her spending and taxes, but she has to pay her own legal fees. She signs a waiver relinquishing any claim to my house or my retirement accounts forever. She signed the papers with a shaking hand. She didn't say sorry. She just said, "I hope you rot in that house alone." "I won't be rotting," I said. "I'll be debt-free and mortgage-free, and I'll finally have the closet space back." Final update, the aftermath. It's been 2 weeks since she moved out. I used the $215,000 to pay off the remainder of my mortgage. The house is officially 100% mine, free and clear. I put the rest in my retirement fund. I hired a cleaning crew to scrub the house top to bottom. I wanted her energy gone. They found the designer bags in the attic. Per the settlement, personal items left behind were considered abandoned property if not claimed in 7 days. She missed the deadline because she was scrambling to find a place to live. I sold them to a consignment shop and donated the money to a local trade school scholarship fund. Brenda couldn't close on her condo since her funds were frozen during the crucial closing window and she lost half her capital in the settlement. She no longer qualified for the mortgage she needed for the balance. The seller pulled the contract. She lost her $15,000 deposit. She is currently living with her mother, Linda. From what I hear, it's not a happy household. Last night, I sat on my porch with a cold beer. My phone didn't buzz with requests for money. The air was quiet. I didn't have to worry about someone lying to my face. A buddy of mine asked me if I miss her. I thought about it. I missed the idea of her. I missed who I thought she was. But I don't miss the woman who could watch me work a double shift to pay for her car while she sat on a winning lottery ticket. I learned a valuable lesson. You can live with someone for years and never really know them. But money? Money reveals character faster than anything else. And as for the common law rules, if you're in a long-term relationship, do yourself a favor. Either get married, sign a prenup, or keep your finances so separate that not even God could mix them up. Or, just don't date a liar. I'm going fishing next weekend, the expensive trip, and I'm paying for it all by myself, just like I always did. Except this time, I'm not paying for anyone else's lies. TLDR, girlfriend won $500 and hid it for months while I paid all her bills. She asked me for rent money while sitting on a fortune. I found out, moved out, and sued her under common law rules. I walked away with $215, a paid-off house, and my freedom. She walked away with half her winnings, no boyfriend, and a lost condo deposit. Don't lie to the man who pays your bills.